All right. So in this video here, I got a small piece of, I think it's a half-inch round stock in my chuck here. My tool, the height of my tool is all dialed in. Everything's good here. But I'm really going to talk about turning and how to use these dials right here to be very, very precise. Now, let's see if we can do this without mucking this up. If you come over here and you see all these little graduations or tick marks on this dial. Every small little tick mark, I know it's a little tough for you guys to see there, but you'll see in class, is 0.0001 inches or 1,000th of an inch. All right. And so we're going to go ahead and use these dials to move around our lathe bit, our cutter. We're going to be moving this around extremely accurate. All right. So let's see if I can go ahead and do this without making too big of a fool of myself. All right. First, let me turn around this piece in the vise. So we have. There we go. So I got a half inch piece of stock, and for whatever reason, I need this diameter to go from a half inch to 0.4 inches. So I need to take off 0.1 inches. All right. I'm also going to move down a half inch. So it's going to go make the diameter change a little smaller by 0.1 inches, and I'm going to move down a half inch. All right. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'll bring it in here nice and close. The first thing I'm going to do is face it. I need to know exactly how far to move down, but remember, this is cut on a saw. That is not a flat surface. I can't really measure from that surface. So I'm going to go ahead and run my lathe bit across the face of this surface, making sure that that is perfectly flat. All right. Now that that surface is perfectly flat, I want to know where that location is. All right. If I'm going to move a half inch down from that location right there, I have to use this big dial down here. All right. That's this one. Let me see if I can get you a better angle on that. Now, on the collar of that dial, there are graduations as well. Yeah. Come on, camera. So on the collar of this dial, now, if I spin this dial without spinning the handle, I'm going to go ahead and move over. So I just put the number 0 at that indicator mark right there. And I know you guys really can't see that, but you'll understand. So that's 0. Now, as I move down, I have these graduations. I just move down a half inch right there. All right? Because I faced my part and then set my dial at 0 right there, my tooltip just moved down a half inch. I'm going to go back to my 0. So now I'm right back to where I started. All right? I'm right back to where I started. Now, the next thing is this dial here. All right? This is the dial we use to do a diameter change. I'm going to make this smaller. All right? So the same thing I can do here. I could spin this wheel without spinning the handle, spin this little collar here, and I could set that up at 0. But first, I got to get my tool bit in position. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my lathe, and I'm going to bring my tool just up close to my steel, just till it touches. Right there. It just started. I just scored on my piece of metal right there. So I'm going to take this dial right here, and I'm going to turn until my 0 So what I've done now, when this dial's at 0, and this larger dial down here is at 0, my tooltip is right on the corner right there. All right, now from there, I can measure down a ½ inch. Let me show you this. My tooltip is right on the corner right there. So now, by turning my large wheel down here, I can move down exactly a ½ inch. And by turning my smaller wheel, I can go in, and I'm going to go in 0.1 inches. Now, I'm not going to go in 0.1 inches on one pass. All right? I'm going to do this over 3 separate passes. So I'm going to go ahead, turn on my lathe. I'm going to turn this dial right here to like 0.3. All right? And then I'm going to go ahead and move my tool down a ½ inch. Going ever so slowly. Now I have the power feed on. I'll show you guys what that's going to look like here. So this is moving by itself. And I'm going to watch right here. I'm watching these numbers right here as they're going around. And I'm going to shut it off at exactly 0.5. There it is. So now I took off 0.03 on my diameter. I went in 0.03 and I went down 0.5. I'm going to go ahead and back it up. Get back out. I was at 0.03. I'm now going to turn to 0.07, maybe 0.08. And I'm going to do that exact same thing. Let me get a little oil on there so I get a nice clean cut. All right. So now I'm down to, I've taken away now 0.08. I'm going to take away 0.08. There it goes. I'm watching my large dial down here at the bottom. All right, that's spinning ever so slowly. I'm watching my large dial here at the bottom, and I'm going to stop that dial from moving at the 0.5. Right there. Again, I'll reset. And now I'm going to go to 0.01. I'm sorry. There it is. I'm going to go down to 0.1. So now I'm taking off 0.1. I did it over 3 different passes. I did 0.03, and then I jumped to 0.08. Now I'm going to jump to 0.1. I'll get some cutting fluid on there. You always want to make your final cut the smallest cut. You'll have a much better finish. Got a little bit more to go. I'm at 0.4. Get it up to 0.5. Stop. So now, if I did this correctly, I can look on my micrometers here. The diameter of this rod should now be 0.4. And I'm right there, right on the money.